Jenkins,
Here?
Martin,
Yes.
Vaughn, Testori,
Yes.
Kelly.
Here.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to move, we've got 5 public comments. I'm going to move those to the front. And we'll start in the order in which they were given to me. And the first one is Ms. Griffin. You have the floor.
I'm Diva Griffin. I work with Coalition for Bright Futures. We're an underage drinking coalition in DeWitt County. We were working through DeWitt County Human Resource Center, but that recently closed down, so now we're through Piatt County Mental Health Center. The grant that I'm working with is called Partnerships for Success. It's a federal grant given to counties where the underage drinking rate is higher than the state average. And DeWitt County got that grant, so I'm working with our coalition here to get the underage drinking rate here down. So we've been working with all the schools, Blue Ridge Middle and High School and Clinton Junior High, to take the Illinois Youth Survey this past year, and they all did. And the Illinois Youth Survey gives us information about all the drugs and alcohol that the students here are doing, where they're getting it from, how often they're doing it, and it gives us information so we can look at that and see what types of strategies we can come up with to kind of curtail that. In our process, we've been working on getting letters of support from the mayors, because the mayors also serve as liquor commissioners in a lot of the towns here. So I came to ask if we could get a letter of support from you for our coalition.
Absolutely.
Because one of the things that after we get all our research in, one of the things that may come up if the evidence says so, we may do alcohol compliance checks. And if the evidence suggests that that would help us, then we would need your permission to do it, obviously.
Very good.
And then the grant is paid for federally, so all the costs from that wouldn't be on you. That would be on our grant. We'd write that in. So this is a pretty significant amount of money each year. We're talking at least $100,000 each year just to work with this for the next 5 years. So.
Do you have your contact information that you can hand off to us so that we can get that letter to you as soon as possible?
Yes, I sent you
Thank you.
I sent you an email with it in there, and then this was a while ago. And then I also printed one off so you can look at it. It's not on your official letterhead, but it's just like that. I can send you another one if you'd like.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. If you like more information, you can just contact me there.
Hold on, young lady.
Okay, thank you.
Signed.
Easy.
Thank you very much for your
Thank
work,
you so
too.
much.
And then in order, Ms. Tester, you have the floor.
I'm Angela Testori, and I was just coming to you on behalf of a new committee in town, and we are the Farmer City Haunted Forest, and we want to do a Halloween event out at South Park. So I just want to kind of read to you what I have for you. So the mission of the Farmer City Haunted Forest Committee is to involve all groups, social groups, church groups, and citizens of Farmer City and surrounding areas in a Halloween-themed event. So the focus on the event is a family-friendly entertainment option. The scope of the event is to have each of the campsites, actually 18 out of the 21 campsites, set up in a Halloween display. And then the visitors would take a hay rack wagon through the trail to see all of the displays set up. We would like to use the campsites, the pavilion, and then have access to the restrooms on Friday, October 28th and Saturday, October 29th. and then the park will be cleaned up after the event.
Very good. Thank you.
Or do we need to make a motion to use the park for?
No, well, I mean, if we put that in your, under non-agenda items to give direction to the city manager to bring that forth, even if we have to vote on that. I'm not sure if we have to vote on that, but let's talk about that in non-agenda items and other business. Thank you. And if you'd like to stay for that portion in case there's any questions, we'd appreciate it. So, the next in line is Mr. Knox. Sir, you have the floor.
All right, I'm going to sit down for this one. This is a letter from one of our neighbors, Ron Schroeder. He couldn't make it tonight because he's out of town. He wanted me to hand this out and just kind of quickly go over it. Ron, he's like a subcontractor. He works in the area. He's done all kinds of stuff. He's got some issues still about the detention pond. You'll see in his letter, he basically is really suggesting that we really need to grade that whole thing off and treat it as a big project, making sure that we can get all the water taken care of at once. I know there's a broken tile in the southwest corner of the doctor's office that needs to be fixed, which retains water, as well as the pond down below. And so he would like that to kind of be looked at. And he really doesn't want to put the cart in front of the horse. He wants to make sure we take care of the detention pond first prior to doing anything with the park. When Larry came out and did a talk with us on the neighborhood, he was there. He was located there. I guess I did a tour over there. Larry suggested that the park could go anywhere in this 200-foot radius. It was suggested by him and other people that we put it towards the road a little bit more versus being all the way back behind the doctor's office. That would be somewhere around the broken tile is, if you get that area fixed. That way you have access and visibility from the road and you're not hid behind the doctor's office, and people probably will not be forced to park in the doctor's office to watch their kids, etc. He's worried about the easement. It's a utility easement. I don't know if you guys have had permission right now. I don't know. He basically says, I don't know if you guys own the land and put a sidewalk on that, because when we look at the plot map, it looks like it's part of the doctor's office thing in Gibson City, and he doesn't know if you actually even own the right of way to actually put a sidewalk there. He has concerns about lighting, and he has concerns about people parking in the Gibson City parking lot, and he really would like to have a budget. Last week we found out there wasn't even a sidewalk budget out there for the sidewalk, and he really wants to make sure you guys do it right. Sit down with it, really get a good plan of the whole entire area, because I know there's, if you look at the expansion stuff out there, there's other parks that we put in, and there's other ponds that we put in, and he'd really like to get this one fixed first. So that's kind of a summary of that letter. As for me, this will be the last one I get to come to for my job for a while, so I want to make it a good one. I came back in October. Basically, when I came here the first time in October was due to the sidewalks being surveyed. We hired a company here locally to do the sidewalks at a cost of $26,000 for a 2-day job to do that survey. And if you go out there again, every single sidewalk out there is cut in the driveways. So I really don't understand why we had to pay $26,000, which the legal budget was $25,000 that had to be bidded. So we went over that. I do know Larry's son works for that company, so I find that kind of weird that we're actually doing that. I addressed the water. I talked about the swamp land. During that time too, Larry suggested that we use TIF money to actually expand the doctor's office driveway. That's against our covenant to have rock out there. He suggested we actually use TIF money for that. I questioned that, the city councilman, and nothing's been done on that from there. I came back in April to talk about the swampland, because nothing's been done on that. Larry said it hadn't got cold enough for the ground to freeze. I went to AccuWeather.com. I pulled out the temperature for January. You can look at, and the days there and how cold it got in January. I just got a feeling that was, as far as I say, an oversight on his part not to go out there at that time to look at it. And they tell me that that ground wasn't frozen enough to get a piece of machinery on there and take care of that problem. I find that hard to believe. And the fact that the only way we can take care of the problem, based on Farnsworth's suggestion, is to wait for that ground to freeze. We're out there the whole entire summer out there with water out there. We've had lots of rain, lots of bugs. Kids are still coming home with ticks on them. It's hard to tell a little 10-year-old boy he can't go around and play. So I still don't understand that. In May, I came back, listened to a student council meeting. He talked about starting the water condition, the connection between the two streets after the pool was done. I believe that actually got done July 5th. And if you've been out there, it's a mess. I know Ben Wallace has called you. Ben Wallace has, I think, has talked to you as well. I got pictures out there of the area. You can see it after Monday, the rain that backs up in there. On that, you can actually see how deep it is. There's a pond in there, and I put my shovel in it, and you can actually see how deep that little thing is. If you look at my phone, because I didn't have a great picture there, you've got a massive hole sitting in front of it, not even secured, where a kid can walk in and drown because that is over 2 feet deep right there. Alright? You can actually see that they created a dam on the downside of the river part thing that blocks all that water backlogs up into Wallace's area. If you go out there, you'll see dead grass, and it is a huge area of how far the water backed up on Monday when we got that rain. I suggested at the last council meeting that they come in there and look at fixing that. Nothing's still been done with that, and there's a big problem. Okay? The property sale. I also came in here and said in a council meeting, and Larry said there was 2 properties, I think, for sale that somebody was going to buy, but somebody didn't want to sell it to him. And he suggested that we buy it as a city. I think we did buy that as a city. And I think you brought up the point is you didn't want to get stuck with it.
Yes,
Right?
I did.
Well, we sold it. And how much did we lose on that? Did we lose money on that?
Well, we did.
You guys know how much we lost on that? And that was based on Larry suggesting to you guys that we buy that property. Do you know how much we lost on that, Larry?
I didn't suggest we buy that property, sir. That's the way that the ordinance played out and through the
I know,
courts.
I
didn't
just wouldn't know the price we lost on that. Because he basically told you, if I was here, I remember right, I go back and look at the film, that he had a buyer lined up and we wouldn't be basically losing money. And so I just, again, I have no confidence in the city being able to do something with that park. Based on every project we've done, I have no confidence in the city being able to do that park. I now have no confidence in the city being able to fix the wetlands, the swampland out there. I know there's a better way. I know you can get somebody in here that actually knows how to do it and do it right and get it done correctly. I don't know if we have the equipment to do it, but I think you really need to look at doing something right instead of just doing it to get it done. So I really would like to see a budget somewhere down the line for this park, a massive plan, how it's all going to fit together back there, where it's going. Talking to the citizens out there, nobody wants it back behind the doctor's office. Everybody wants it in that 200-foot radius towards the road. And I think you just need to listen to people out there and do it correctly. All right? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McKinley, you have the floor.
Well, Santa Ana Township, they're up there and dug up, and they have no problems on their side of the railroad tracks, on the north side of the railroad tracks. Guys gotta get in there and go down to the tile someplace and behind Heartland. The tile runs between Heartland and the railroad track. And gotta get it fixed. I mean, because everybody north of me, they're having problems still. And the guy talking about the 2-inch rain we got.
The other day, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember in '68 when the tornado went through and that place flooded, but it drained down good. That time we got, what, 12 inches of rain or something like that. But, and I see that you guys haven't, your field tile out in our cornfield, you haven't fixed it yet. What's the reason for that? I mean, that's a crop ground. The city's crop ground. I showed it to you. You work real close to it. Mac, I don't know about you.
What do you want to know?
You know where our crop ground's at out there?
No, I didn't know. Where was that?
And I showed it to you, I took you on a tour back there. Why hasn't nothing been done?
Got an estimate on all that a while back. I mean, it was over it was 6 figures.
For even fixing the fuel tile up by the road, is that included?
Yeah, I mean, we're, what was it, 100,
It was over
it
100,000.
was over $100,000.
Yeah. and-
So right now, it's definitely gonna be a money issue.
Okay, but you cash rent the crop ground out, right?
Yes.
How much per acre do you cash?
I think it's about $200 an acre, $170.
How many years have you done that?
I couldn't tell
You
you.
even kept a count on that, even half of it, instead of throwing that money in your general funds to maintain your ground, your property, our property.
How many acres we got out there?
Uh,
About 15.
Right at, 15.
15
And
acres.
some of it's not farmed because tile problems out there.
So we have 15 acres, how many of it's farmed?
Probably all but maybe 2, I don't know.
And we got the farm ground out here on 54. I mean, we should have a cash reserve if anything goes wrong to fix it. If we get it sold, then we can use the money in other parts of the city. You're planning on doing something. How quick?
I really can't tell, I mean, that's,
If it's $100,000, it's gonna be a while.
Because
It ain't, it's not in the
I was up
budget.
there when they dug that out today and I saw it. There was nothing wrong with that up there.
I'll tell you later.
It's on pass.
I got a plan.
Because that along the railroad track and
I know.
Heartland Chemical, it's growed up in weeds.
I agree with you. I mean, I've seen out in Isaacs, went out there and looked at it, there's a serious water issue.
Yeah.
So I'm not denying that one iota.
I told Sandy I was going to wear my chore boots up here tonight and show you the mud I have to walk through every day.
Thank you for not doing that.
I'll get hold of animal control next.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
And we have one more. Mr. Hanning, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. I have a visual aid. There we go. I want to address the integrity of the Honorable Mr. Mayor, this august body assembled before us, our council, and our city manager, Mr. Wood. There are conspicuous and onerous and repetitious behaviors that seem to govern this small ship we call Farmer City, of which we are all citizens. Executive sessions with a city attorney only in attendance, in effect, secret meetings that the citizenry is blocked from. Topics of discussion are blocked from our view. We have no agenda and subsequent meetings to tell us what was going on, no parameter descriptives, nothing. Onerous and conspicuous. All of them fall under the umbrella of integrity in administration. My second point is missing minutes from conspicuous dates, no Freedom of Information Act responses, no advisement or comments from our council members to those in responsible positions in the administration of these decisions. Arbitrary decisions, spending our money without us being included in the conversation, or the council members at times. Conspicuous and onerous. It impugns our integrity, the entire community, every citizen in this town. The city manager's acquisitions with no input whatsoever from council members, purchases up to $10,000, and some are included above that figure, all to be discussed with the council and they are dropped out of the loop. Again, conspicuous and onerous administration. My next point is, accusations made, this is D, accusations made against council members and tip recipients in the local press, on the Farmer City mayoral website. No retractions, no litigation, no substantiation, unproven, all of them. Again, onerous and conspicuous administration, which impugns on the overall integrity of our hometown. Conspicuous and onerous. Impugns on our integrity. A glaring example that recently occurred with one of our citizens, Ted Kelly, who lives on Water Street, was attacked and mauled by an unleashed dog, who coincidentally is a member of our Farmer City Police Force. There was no action taken on this, even though Mr. Kelly and his wife Terry have repeatedly asked for action. None has been received. Again, a glaring and onerous and conspicuous shadow on the integrity of our city. We wish the best to Mr. Kelly and Terry, his wife, and his quick recovery from the dog attack. 3-day-old fish, I called my closing point. F.
1 minute, sir.
That is unconstitutional. There is no time limit. I have checked with Lisa Madigan's office. It violates my first Bill of Rights amendment. I can talk for 30 minutes as long as I have a continuing dialect in discussion. There is no limit.
We have
3-day-old fish.
We have a limit by ordinance.
3-day-old
1
fish.
minute.
3-day-old fish. Conspicuous and onerous administration. A lack of responsibility that leads to further impugning of our reputation in this part of Illinois. I again remind all assembled and those viewing at home, this is an ongoing problem that impugns on the integrity of our community. I thank you all for your time.
What's your last point? It says heritage, D.
Oh, the Heritage Society, here's another glaring example. The Heritage Society coordinated and executed the most successful Heritage Day celebration by a volume of more than 100%, and the board reduced their budget for next year by 30% as reward. Conspicuous, why? Why do we punish success instead of celebrate it and promote it, propel the community? And the amount of money that is given to the Heritage Society and the Garden Club are reduced or neglected altogether. These are all volunteer citizen activists who perform these functions gratis, at their own will, for the sake of the community. We should be applauding them, not punishing them by taking their budget away.
Very good, sir.
Thank you again for your
Thank you.
time and attention.
You got some blood on the back of your leg, sir.
Pardon me?
Blood on the back of your leg.
Oh, mosquito bite.
No.
I ain't made it sugar candy.
Thank you, sir.
West Niles. Thank you, Buckwheat.
I got a letter from, let me just read this. It says, Mayor Jenkins, Larry, Matt, Scott, and Josh and Scott. Our family would like to thank you for your generous contribution to the 6th annual Junior Kilmer Memorial Race. Our dad loved Farmer City Raceway. He would be so proud to know this race is in his honor. Thanks again, Terry, Shirley, Debbie, and Kathy, families. I also have one statement to read with no questions taken at this time. Josh Hahn has stepped down from his city council position. I appreciate his service and value his contribution. I am appointing Jessica DeMars to fill out the remainder of his term. She is here this evening in case the press had any questions. I will bring this to the city council for their approval at the next meeting. On that, we move on to section 1.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda. Need a second?
Second.
Call it.
Jenkins?
Yes.
Harding?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Testori?
Yes.
There being no unfinished business, we move on to section 3, new business.
I'd like to make a motion to accept resolution 2016-25, allowing the electric rate adjustment at 117 South Main Street for the purpose of creating a youth center.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion. And Mr. Craddock is here as well. As I understand it, this would be the full understanding that if it was ever to convert over to a business or it was actually convert out of being a youth center, it would go back to its...
Yes. Currently, it's at the commercial rate. This would put it back to the residential rate, which what that does, your line fees and everything would be, reduced into the residential. So that's going to be a savings to him. With those fees would actually be dropped about half. So there's a substantial savings to him. And in that resolution, we did put that should this youth center fold for whatever reason, then it would go back into the commercial rate. So.
Very good. Any questions or thoughts?
Is it a not-for-profit youth center, is that the deal?
Currently, it is not a non-for-profit, it's not a 501c. However, it is not there's no profit-making engine involved in it, if that makes any sense.
Well, I'm just thinking of the other businesses in town. What sets this apart from the other businesses that want their rates lowered?
It's not a business. There's no, Mr. Craddock, you're not charging youth or anything.
That is correct.
So you're basically creating, am I wrong, you're creating the center, then you're opening it up for the youth. You're going to put, I know that you've got tables, you've got other things that are coming into the room, and then you're just basically opening it up for them to use,
Yes, sir.
correct? So, I mean, the argument is not a business, so.
Terry came in today and we had a little discussion. One of the things that he found out, because he's going to make it a youth center, that he has to completely rebuild the bathroom and make it ADA compliant. If you've ever gone through that, you know that that is quite expensive. So he hasn't even got started, now he's already got tagged with that expense. If this doesn't go through, then, this was just a vote for nothing.
You're currently looking at, am I wrong, over $10,000 worth of repairs that need to be done to the building to make it a youth center.
To open the doors, it looks like about 14.6.
So, I mean, it's,
That building wasn't involved in the TIF renovations?
no.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Did that one receive tip dollars?
Upstairs.
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 Upstairs did. I don't have a problem with lowering the rate. I'd like to see it go down for everybody, but yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Any other questions or discussion? Go ahead and call it.
Harding?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Testori?
Yes.
Jenkins?
Yes.
Motion carried.
I'd like to make a motion to accept ordinance 969, declaring surplus specified personnel property owned by the city of Farmer City at 319 East Allen.
Second that.
Is this,
Discussion, yes.
down there by the light plant?
Yes,
Right next to Lash Brooks' old place, or is it?
No, come back to the west.
Okay.
This would be right next to the Bowman residence, right there on the corner of West and Allen Street.
Okay.
If this ordinance was to be enacted, then what this does, this allows us to list it public for sale. We'd be posting it for high bid, so.
Okay.
What's the value of the property now?
We'd have to have it appraised.
So if it gets appraised, we can post a minimum bid to cover the cost
Yes,
of the property and the transfer and the title and all that.
yes.
As long as we're not losing money on it.
Well, it'd have to come,
You can vote this down, not sell it, then you don't lose anything.
I understand.
on sell, well,
This is being brought to you because there is an interested party that asked about that lot. So it's my obligation to bring it to you. You can vote it down, not sell it, or we can go move forward.
So we're not using it for anything.
No. No. We can't build on it.
They can't build on it.
If it becomes theirs, they can.
If there's,
any further questions? Go ahead and do roll call.
Kelly,
Yes.
Testori,
yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
motion carries.
It brings us to section 4, other items, city manager's report.
I only have a couple things tonight. Hair Construction is out at the subdivision. They were doing some potholing today, trying to find out where that water main is. They're supposed to really get fired up later this week, and I didn't go out by there, so maybe they did a little bit more than what was anticipated. I keep open communications with Chief Carter in Monticello. We've swapped some information out, and I've given him the information for the Chief of Police here to give him, answer his questions as they come about. I did call Mugabug last week about the tick situation out of the subdivision, and see about a second spraying for Farmer City, and then seeing if they could go out around the detention basin and just kind of hit that heavy. They thought that would be a good idea. It does have to dry up a little bit so they can get 3/4 around the detention basin, which when it's normally dry, that can be done with a light-duty pickup truck. So hopefully within the next couple weeks, if we don't get another 2-inch rain, we'll be able to get that accomplished. And I don't know if you paid any attention, but I've had requests about the farmer's market coming back down here onto the square. It's been, what I've been told, kind of a failure out there with the construction equipment next to Emos. It's been chasing everybody off, so we've allowed them to come back up to the square. That's all I have, gentlemen.
Any question to the city manager's report?
Kind of addressing the mosquito situation. I'm not an architect or an engineer or anything, but I do have a couple friends that are involved with excavating. Is there any reason why we can't go out there and dig a deeper hole and just let that water run into that hole and at least maybe let the surrounding area dry? I don't know if that's a possibility or not.
Last week I talked to Marvin Doble, who obviously does drainage and is very knowledgeable on drainage, and we had a long discussion about how we could put a fix in there for now. One of the, and I think I might have even talked to Scott here a little bit about it, but we've got to get in there. We have to be able to get in there and get some of that wooded debris out of there. And then we talked about, and even Marvin suggested, that if you want the water to go through there, to go through and try to put some type of a temporary tile in there from the inlet to the outlet to get that water to go through, which would allow that detention basin to settle also. So I don't know about digging a hole, Mac. I'm not, that's not my expertise, and I know who you're talking about, and they know what they're talking about. So I would entertain it just as well as anybody else would. I just know what we had been told before, so. We just can't, you could dig a hole, which then you're actually going to create a pond.
Create a pond.
You won't have any, you'll be lower than the outlet. So then that water is definitely going to sit there, where now some of that water goes on through. So I don't know if that's better or not, Mac, I don't know.
They're saying that we could do a temporary tile to get the water out and dry it up.
To connect the inlet to the outlet with field tile, like corrugated field tile, because with corrugated field tile, some of that water is going to come out anyway into the detention basin, but the majority of it's just going to go on through. So, which in essence, when you build that gutter pan, that's what you're anticipating, that water is going to go on through. So you're not doing you're not changing anything downstream. It's the same plan, but there's so much growth in there right now. We have to be able to get in there and get some of it cut so we could put that in.
Can we hand cut the growth? Can we hire some people to come and hand cut that?
We were going to do that with weed eaters. So we'd already talked about that, yeah.
But your guy Marvin can put the temporary tile in and that'll start to dry it up.
Yeah, I think anybody could lay it in there, Scott, after we get a path cut. So
what do we need to make it work to get it underway?
some of this other stuff done that people want done and before that gets done. So.
Well, I mean, you know, I'll speak for, you know, not only Mr. McKinley, but, you know, the whole subdivision that, you know, it's got, I could see their frustration, you know, with the mosquitoes and the ticks and the water, and we'll get to it when we can get to it. It's just,
Let's set a deadline. Let's get.
I just have, I want it done. I want to get this thing dried up, and I want to get this, you know, this taken care of for them. Whatever it takes. I mean, if there's additional plans or if there's additional ways that we can make this happen, we need to be about. I mean, we need to be as aggressive as humanly possible here. Think outside the box. Let's get some little plan in place that we can drive this thing up. Get people out there and clean it up. So. I mean, obviously, I echo you, I'm not an engineer, so dig a hole, make a big pond, but that doesn't sound like,
Get somebody in there with a high hoe and...
Well, he's already brought me a picture of that's a 2-foot hole, he's right, little kid fall in there, that's not cool. So, I guess whatever it takes.
I mean, it's worth a try. I mean, I don't know. I watch them do these ditches out there. Like, I don't know.
Does Marvin think he can get in there?
Not now.
If it dries up a little bit, I understand we had a lot of water flow.
Right. You're talking, 4 inches in a short period of time. So, and Marvin said that somebody had him out there several years ago and then they didn't want to proceed with it. It's a shame, but I don't know who that was and he didn't recall. No, right now, no. And it was just last week when I talked to him, so.
What about this company that was digging out the Salt Creek over out here at DNR? They got a high that reaches all the way across that stinking creek.
I don't know where or who you're talking about.
It's a couple years ago, there was somebody out there who was dipping out that creek, that river.
What runs to?
Huh?
Ours?
The one out there,
Tranquil.
just right where the DNR starts. Where Clinton Lake DNR starts, just outside of town.
Oh, I don't know.
And it was a big, massive hoe. It was reaching all the way across that creek. Somebody like that surely can get in there without getting stuck. But it looks to me like we just need to set a priority, set a list, prioritize it, and start doing it until we're out of money.
I don't blame them for being upset. I understand.
Well, and I don't either. It's not like it is being ignored by the same token, so.
Well, and I agree that it's not being ignored, but if you're living there and you're not seeing anything done, the only perception you can have is it's being ignored. I don't know, have we done anything out there?
No, we've done.
What about one of these companies that comes in and lays tile? We've got a lot of local guys.
Well, that's why I went to Marvin. I figured that here's a guy that is out in the field under all conditions, so that would be where to start.
I mean, you got one at Mansfield and Bellflower, you know, I see these big pieces of equipment, basically they drive through and it shoves it in the ground. I don't know if they could go through something like that the way it sits now.
I'll work on that and I'll have something for the next council meeting. And then,
Thank you.
I mean, I don't know what size tile we would need. I mean, 2 foot, 36 inch, I don't know. But
Yeah, I think that's a 24-inch pipe, Matt.
It's 24 at the end there.
I need a bigger one.
I look forward to the next council.
Yeah, but
Thank you,
it's
sir.
only 24 on the other end.
Yeah,
Where
so
it runs
24.
underneath the road, so, and that's all concrete. So basically, you're going from the north end to the southwest end, correct?
Mhm.
It's just
Northeast,
big connection
southwest.
pipe is all it is.
Any other discussion on the city manager's report? Any non-agenda items and other business?
Yes,
Yes.
we want to talk about using that park.
You don't need any resolution or anything from us saying that the park is going to be in use. I mean, as long as the committee says on this day at this time, we will be using that park, and I think that's sufficient.
I think the concern is the park has quiet hours. They want to go beyond that.
Would it be possible to use it until midnight, both nights?
I mean, my initial response is, I don't see a problem with it. You've got people camping out there. Anything, does anybody have a reason
I don't
why?
know, no, I don't know if we need to have
How,
a special 2-day ordinance for that or what. but
is this a
I
one
don't
day
see a
event?
problem with it.
It's
2 day event? Okay, so what's the hours going to be?
So Friday would go from 5 to midnight, and then Saturday 3 to midnight.
Okay, so the only issue would be is that, currently you have to where your park's closed, and you guys have the ability to waive that, and you have up until Halloween to get that accomplished.
So
So,
we'll waive it
Now-
for what she needs and go on.
That's waiving it, and now is that an adult? Is that for adults or,
No, it's for any age.
no, it's family oriented?
Family,
All right.
family friendly. We're looking at possibly on Saturday having it young kid friendly, so if kids want to go through in the daylight where it's, maybe not as creepy. And then it would be more adults, once it gets dark. So that's why it's starting earlier on Saturday. So it could really get the younger kids involved.
Obviously curfew's in place, so, I mean, they have to be with their families. I mean, we wouldn't lift any curfew.
no,
All right. I don't see an issue. I mean, we don't need to do that in a council meeting to waive that, just,
I would say you have to, because
okay,
it's an ordinance.
residents, all right. That's fine. Can you bring that before the desk at the next meeting? Any other non-agenda items and other business? On Thursday, August 4th, 6 to 7 p.m. here, there is our state representative, Bill Mitchell, will be here to have a town hall meeting. That's 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. this Thursday, August 4th. I have one item and a recommendation. I will be out of town for the first week in September. Over the Labor Day weekend, I won't be back till Wednesday. I'm recommending that we just cancel that city council meeting, unless there's any objections. If you want to have the meeting, then it would just be without me. So, and I'm fine either way with that. That would be, you can look that up. Labor Day, no meeting.
Cancel the 5th.
And we'll be canceled the 6th. Is there any objection?
Is it on Tuesday?
Yeah, it's on a Tuesday because it's Labor Day weekend, so we will not be meeting on that.
Okay, I got you.
Any objection? We'll cancel that meeting. I don't think that we need to do a special meeting that month, we'll just do the one instead. So, is there any other non-agenda items or other business? entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Testori,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
motion carried.